The Last of Us is one of the biggest video game IPs in the world, despite only having 2 actual video game releases under its belt. And one of them didn't exactly get the same acclaim as the first one did. The HBO adaptation of the first game is widely seen as the best video game adaptation of all time, and with a second season confirmed, many fans are eager to know where the franchise is going next in the realm of the video games. In this video, we're going to talk about everything that we know about where Last of Us franchise is going, both in regards to the third mainline game as well as the second season of the HBO show, because there's been kind of some major hiccups in production that a lot of people may have missed. So make sure you watch this video all the way so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well with your notifications turned on so you're always up to date with gaming leaks. And let's go ahead and get right into it. So first, let's talk about the season 2 of The Last of Us HBO show after that raging success of the first season. Now, it was inevitable that a second season would be greenlit. HBO wasted no time in confirming the second season, that they already put it in production, but last week it was reported by a number of sources that auditions and pre-production had been halted due to the ongoing writer's strike in Hollywood. Apparently, the showrunner and lead writer Craig Mazin is one of the people on strike, and the rest of the team has been in standstill as a result. Sources also are claiming that the plan is to use The Last of Us Part 2 as the inspiration of the second season of the show, suggesting that it will change up the story quite a bit. And once the writer's strike began, it seemed like the team was using scripts from the Part 2 video game for the audition material, but as of a few days ago, auditions have been halted altogether, likely due to the writer's strike that is still seemingly going nowhere, and it's nowhere close to ending. It's also been confirmed that Neil Druckmann, Naughty Dog president and HBO show writer, is not working on season 2 to any capacity at the time of this specific video's production, so it's looking like HBO isn't anywhere near ready to start filming. Sources claim the season 2 of The Last of Us was going to start filming in 2024, but unless the writer's strike concludes in the very near future, that will likely have to be pushed back as well. Granted, it's possible the show continues production without any writers, as season 2 of Amazon Prime's The Lord of the Rings of Power has reportedly continued production despite its writers being on strike, but given how poorly season 1 of that show was received by a lot of people, I don't think the lack of writers on set is going to have much of an impact on its reputation. The Last of Us, on the other hand, was critically acclaimed for its first season, and both Naughty Dog and HBO likely want to make sure the second season is as good as the first, so if I had to guess, the season 2 won't enter full production until the writer's strike concludes, which likely won't be for a while. Shifting gears to the gaming world, production on The Last of Us Part 3 is questionable at best, as we haven't heard much of it in the past few months. Granted, a massive leak came out earlier this year about how a third Last of Us game is in production, but it likely won't be released until 2026 at the very earliest, and it will possibly be a cross-generation title with the PS6. Naughty Dog, of course, has a habit of releasing the Last of Us games right at the end of PlayStation generations, so if you're currently waiting for The Last of Us Part 3, it probably won't be released for a few years, but it will definitely be pushing the PS5 to its absolute limits. But according to Neil Druckmann in a recent interview, the team is still remaining tight-lipped on a prospect of a third game, even though everyone seems to know it's coming. When asked about The Last of Us Part 3 on Kind of Funny, Druckmann stated, "At the end of every project, we purposely explore several different projects. Some of them might be a sequel, and then a bunch of them new ideas. And then we feel like, where do our passions lie? I know a lot of fans want Last of Us Part 3. I hear it all the time. All I can say is that we're already into our next project. The decision has already been made. I can't say what it is, but the process we went through has been started." So while he doesn't confirm the production of a third Last of Us game, he does somewhat imply that Naughty Dog is working on something else, although this is something that a lot of industry insiders have already told us. It's very likely that Naughty Dog's next game is that brand new IP that we've been hearing about, but The Last of Us Part 3 is probably in early production right now, with a target release date of the end of the PS5's life cycle. Hopefully we will hear more about the new Naughty Dog IP at the upcoming PlayStation showcase, or at least get some kind of idea as to what we can expect from the studio next. Now, the other major Last of Us project in the works right now is the multiplayer game that's been in production for what seems to be an eternity now. Originally, there was a Last of Us multiplayer mode in Last of Us Part 2, but due to its reportedly massive scale, Naughty Dog made the decision to split production into 2 different teams, with the main team working on the campaign and a smaller team continuing to work on the multiplayer, meaning this multiplayer project has been in the works for at least 4 years now. Details are extremely scarce right now, but it's very likely we will see something about it during the upcoming PlayStation showcase, because Naughty Dog is surely eager to show off what they've been working on and get it into players' hands after passing so much time and effort into it. Personally, I am hoping it plays similar to the original Factions multiplayer from the first Last of Us game, but I think that there's a decent chance it's also some kind of survival extraction shooter, partially because of how popular extraction-based games have been getting over the last few years, but also simply due to how perfectly an extraction-based survival game would fit into the Last of Us universe. A while back, we got a handful of leaks suggesting that the game would be available for the PS4 and PS5, which makes sense given the fact that it was started production as The Last of Us Part 2, but given previous statements from Sony themselves, it's extremely likely that the game launches on the PC as well, since it's going to be a free-to-play live service game. And the last we heard from Sony about their live service games was that the PlayStation will be launching on the PlayStation and PC simultaneously with crossplay. It's also very likely that we hear about a PC port of The Last of Us Part 2 at the upcoming showcase, but I think the PC community is going to be pretty hesitant to get excited for that due to the abysmal state of Last of Us Part 1's PC port at launch. But what do you guys think about the future of The Last of Us IP? Are you excited for the season 2 of the show, or are you more interested in the future of the games? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section, like the video, subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on. This has been Wes from Video Game Leaks, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.